Hello, this is Sarah's soiledplant and welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of Sarah trying to get rid of spider mites, mostly in vain, but this is my next attempt. This is my extreme version of trying to kill these bugs. So I have two plants in particular I am going to try to eradicate spider mites from. One is my beloved white fusion. I keep cutting leaves off and it's, it keeps producing leaves, but I keep losing them at about the same rate. And I have so many leaves on here that it's actually very difficult to clean with my every leaf method. And then the other one that I have here is my Calathea rufibarbara, which is very spider mite ridden, has webbing all over it, and is very far gone. And we're going to see if this treatment method will save this poor plant. Now this one, you'll see already has my sort of wrapping on the bottom. All I did was take paper, crumpled it up, and taped it down so that I have the ability to turn the plant upside down without the soil falling out. I have not done that with the fusion yet, so I'm going to step you through that. This one has a ton of roots in the bottom, so this one's going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of maneuver, because I'm going to show you. Ooh, these are the roots we're dealing with. This is a big plant, lots of healthy roots, which is why I want to save it so badly. So I'm going to take this insert part out, and then whenever I want to set it down, I'll just put it in the pot that it was in, just so that the roots aren't scraping along the ground. But what I am going to do is I'm going to pull off all of these little dead pieces while I've got it out here, just so that there's fewer places for the bugs to hide in. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take clear tape, I'm going to take some paper towels, whatever you've got, and just kind of put it in between all the stalks so that when you flip it upside down, all the soil's not going to fall out. I wrapped it up and now I'm just going to tape it down. Once again, this is just to kind of make sure that the soil doesn't get displaced when I turn it upside down. It does not need to be airtight. This is not a scientific process. This is just ad hoc, trying to get things in the right spot, so we can just do what we need to get done. One thing you do want to keep in mind is you want to keep the stalks as uncovered as possible, because the deeper down onto the plant that you're able to submerge this, the better. So the more likely you are to kill all the bugs, all of that. So in these two buckets here, I am basically going to have my multi-step process. So I am going to use garden hose and just fill this one up with water. But I'm going to get this one going. Alright, so here I'm going to be doing a 2-bucket method with this. My first step that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to just spray them off with a hose. I'm going to get the undersides of the leaf and kind of tip it upside down and try and clean them off with a fairly, not super, but like a fairly aggressive spray on the water hose. And then from there, I am going to dunk it into the first bucket, which is going to be just, water straight from the tap mixed with alcohol. So this is usually my first step when I am treating for spider mites. So I figure might as well duplicate the process here. So what I do is I fill this with water. And I've got 3 of these. It's not quite 50-50, which is usually what I go for, but it's close enough. As long as it gets the job done, that's all that matters, right? I'm going to dunk all 3 of them there. Alright, so now that those 3 are in there, I'm just going to use the hose to kind of agitate it and mix it up a little bit. It'll get mixed plenty when it's all in there. Now, the second step is I have this bucket that has reverse osmosis water that I have from my filter at home. Just because it's the last step, I want to make sure the water is as pure as possible. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I figured if I'm going to use reverse osmosis water for one step, it should be the last one. And this one's going to be my Captain Jack's. So in the description here, it says that for every gallon you want to use 2 fluid ounces of the mixture, and there's about 2 gallons in there, so I am going to take 4 fluid ounces. Okay. Pour that in, and then rinse it in there, mix it up a little bit, get all of that concentrate goodness. So I'm gonna run this white fusion first. The leaves are a little bit more delicate, and I wanna make sure that since this one has the least bad infection of spider mites, that, you know, I kind of clean the cleanest one first, and then since that one's really, really bad, I'll hit that one second. Now that that's soaked, I'm going to put it in the alcohol solution and just up and dunk it. There we go. One little word of caution, make sure you wash your hands before you do this and also after, because you're dealing with, you know, plant matter and concentrates and stuff. Just for the safety of yourselves and everything, just make sure you do that. So I'm just going to like massage this on the leaves with my hands. Or I use something else if you really wanted to, if you didn't want to use your hands. I just figured this is easier. The reason you want to use your hands, even though it's submerged, is because the webbing that spider mites have is actually hydrophobic, I think it is, where, you know, it's resistant to water, which is why when you do your lovely sprays, sometimes it's not effective. That's why the alcohol step is in there, to kind of break up some of that. But you're going to dunk it as much as you can and get those stems in there, because they can hide in kind of the nooks of your stems. Alright, from there, I'm going to shake it out a little bit, get most of the nasty off of there, and then I'm going to let this air dry. Now I'm going to let this sort of dry off in a shady spot. This is isopropyl alcohol, so it should dry fairly quickly, but I'm going to set it off to the side. So while that one's drying, I am going to focus on the Rufibarbara and spray that one down and start the whole process all over again. Now, same process, dunk it in alcohol. And I figured for this process, because we're waiting on the other one to dry anyway, that was going to take my time. You know, I don't think this step right here, because this is what's like killing most of it, you know. I think that this stage, and you're massaging it out of the leaves and everything, like, that's key. It really is. That is a wet plant. Alright. Shake it off. And just like the last one, I'm going to set it in the shade so that it can start drying off. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes. The leaves are fully dry. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do it with my Captain Jack solution, where I'm going to stick it in there, cover the leaves up, kind of gently agitate them under the solution. You know, because this is a white fusion, I'm trying to be extra dainty with it. I'm trying to be nice and gentle because I know how delicate these leaves are. But I am just kind of petting them a little bit. And once again, I'm going to try and get as much of the stem as possible submerged. Shake it out a little bit, get some of that extra solution off. And then I'm going to put it in the shade and let it dry again. I'm going to do the same thing with the Rufibarbara. When I'm done with all of this, I'm basically just going to use these buckets to water some outdoor plants. You know, these are all obviously safe to use on plants because, you know, I'm dunking them in the solution itself. The Captain Jack says on there that you can use it for indoor or outdoor gardening, and then of course the alcohol, you know, you can very easily use that on outdoor plants as well. So you're not going to like kill bees or ruin any sort of the ecosystem you have in your yard by using this, so you should be okay. Once again, I'm going to put this in the shade and let it dry. Once they've dried off enough to where they're not dripping all over your house, you can bring them back in. While you're doing this, I would just say in the whole process, if you can, just avoid giving it direct light. I know I was out in the sunshine, but that was mainly just so that you could see what was actually happening. If I wasn't doing it on camera, I'd probably pick someplace a little shadier just to protect the plants. But now you're going to remove the sort of packing you put on in order to let it go upside down. And then once you remove the packing, all you're going to do is water it like normal. You're not going to add any fertilizer or any sort of treatments at this time. You could do a hydrogen peroxide rinse on the soil if you really felt like it. I don't have any right now. I'm actually out, so I can't do that at the moment, but that wouldn't be a bad idea. So then you're just going to water it with your regular water. No additives to it, no fertilizer or anything like that. Just plain old water, whatever you water with. All right, so now I'm going to unwrap this guy. And then this one also goes back into a self-watering pot. Same thing, just water like normal. From this point, you're still going to keep it in quarantine, and you want to make sure that you keep an eye on it. Keep treating it with your spray Captain Jacks, the same that you would. Like, I'm going to see if this worked. This was recommended by many of you in the comments on my post-move update, and thank you for that. I'm by no means an expert, so I definitely enjoyed getting tips and tricks from all of you guys out there. You know, I don't know everything, nobody really knows everything, and the beautiful thing about the plant community is that we all share information and we all want each other to succeed. Because honestly, having problems with plants is universal, and it's also something that we can all kind of use a little help with, right? So I very much appreciate all the tips and tricks you guys have been giving me, and I'm certainly excited to see if that treatment method, you know, saved my 2 calathea. We will see, but I'm going to keep these quarantined and keep them away from some of my other plants for the interim, and keep spraying it, keep treating it, and just kind of see what happens. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be sure to keep you updated, but until that time, I'll catch you next time. Bye.